Okay, let's unpack this. Imagine a single journey, right? And on this one trip, you see both profound natural beauty and then just devastating environmental blight, sometimes only miles apart. It's a really stark, almost disorienting contrast, isn't it? Today, we're embarking on a deep dive into some truly unique sources. These aren't, dry research papers. They're deeply personal reflections on landscapes and rivers. We're looking at the iconic Hudson River here in New York, then that bustling Amtrak corridor between New York and Washington, D.C., and then we jump across the globe to Guangzhou, China. We'll focus on the Pearl River and its surrounding industrial regions. Our mission today is pretty clear. We want to extract the most important nuggets of knowledge, those aha moments from these firsthand accounts. Hopefully this helps us understand our complex, sometimes contradictory relationship with the environment. And it definitely raises profound questions about the visible impacts of human development in industry. Questions for all of us, really.
Yeah, what's truly fascinating here is how these really individual journeys, separated by geography and culture, they end up mirroring a much larger global story about our planet. These personal accounts, they offer a powerful, human-centered lens, a way to observe the tangible consequences of rapid economic development on natural systems.
Right.
They prompt us to ask not just what we see, but why it came to be this way.
Exactly.
And crucially, what these sort of universal patterns truly mean for our shared future.
Absolutely. So let's begin right here in the U.S. with what one of our sources describes as a study in profound contrasts. This author has an incredibly personal, lifelong connection to the Hudson River. They talk about this extraordinary 80-plus mile stretch from just north of New York City up towards Poughkeepsie. It's where the Metro-North Railroad tracks run literally just yards from the water.
Wow, that close.
Yeah. For them, growing up in a town called Croton, this was simply home. And sometimes you don't fully appreciate what's right in front of you until you see, well, the rest of the world.
Sure, familiarity can do that.
It wasn't until much later, after this author had traveled and seen some of the planet's most famous rivers, the mighty Mississippi, the Missouri, the Ohio, even the Nile, the Rhine, the Danube, the Thames, and lots of French rivers. Only then did they truly grasp the singular, almost unmatched beauty of the Hudson.
Interesting. So it really stood out even against those famous names.
Apparently so. They described the majestic cliffs of the Palisades rising across the river. It widens dramatically at the Tappan Zee, then narrows again. And even on the sunniest days, they recount how the hills seem to rise right out of the water, almost out of a mist. It sounds incredible.
It does sound beautiful.
Our source tells us, quite poignantly, its beauty never fails to thrill me, nor have I ever seen anything to match it. So it's more than just a waterway for them. It's this profound testament to enduring natural wonder, something almost sacred.
Yeah, you can feel that depth of connection.
But then, just a few score miles away, the same author pivots. They describe what they call its stark opposite number. The Radich country along the Amtrak railroad line between New York City and Washington, D.C.
Ah, that corridor. I know the one.
Their very first ride on this train was actually on a pretty significant day, August 28th, 1963.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the same day Martin Luther King Jr. delivered his I Have a Dream speech. And since then, between family visits and protest marches, they've traveled this route scores of times. What they recount, mile upon mile, is a nightmare spectrum of blight.
Nightmare spectrum. That's strong language.
It is. It's this relentless panorama, dying trees, visibly poisoned waters, long abandoned factories, you know the look, broken windows, walls covered in graffiti.
Decay.
These derelict structures then give way to enormous piles of garbage and old tires, dotting tract after tract of decaying homes and broken neighborhoods. It's particularly stark, they note, as the train skirts the Hackensack River in New Jersey.
Right, near Newark in that area.
Exactly. It's almost as if the landscape itself is crying out, a powerful visual testament to a different kind of history unfolding.
It's precisely this immediate visible juxtaposition that really commands our attention, doesn't it?
It really does.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it's such a powerful illustration of how human activity can create such dramatically different environmental realities.
Yeah.
And like you said, within a relatively small geographic area.
Yeah, it's jarring.
On one hand, you've got the sustained, breathtaking beauty of the Hudson, a landscape seemingly preserved, cherished, maybe by design, maybe just good fortune. On the other, the undeniable visible evidence of decades of industrial neglect, short-sighted development, environmental degradation along that Amtrak corridor.
Just miles away.
Exactly. What these two accounts demonstrate isn't just contrast. It's a profound split in our relationship with nature, sometimes existing side by side. It reflects vastly different societal values, different priorities in how we interact with our immediate surroundings.
That makes sense.
And this immediate visual evidence of our impact, it raises an even more important question, I think. How would someone from a different time or culture, someone who, predates this modern industrial landscape, how would they view these changes? Our source invites us into this fascinating thought experiment. It prompts us to consider the long-term, multi-generational impact of our actions. They ask us to imagine a Lenni Lenape Indian from 500 years ago, one of the indigenous people, the original inhabitants of that land in New Jersey.
Okay.
If she were to somehow time travel and ride along this very Amtrak route today, specifically along the Hackensack River.
Wow. That's a truly powerful image to conjure. And yeah, it raises so many questions. What do you think her reaction would even be? Could she comprehend what she was seeing?
It's hard to imagine, isn't it?
What would she think of these deadly marshes now choked with industrial waste? What would she make of the now useless buildings, these crumbling graffiti-covered structures that, once proudly represented progress and prosperity?
Right. Symbols of a different era.
The author wonders, what questions would she ask in the face of this endless blight? This bitter fruit of unchecked development and greed. It's a deeply unsettling scenario to picture.
Indeed. And the author imagines this time traveler asking two really profound questions. Questions that, despite being posed hypothetically by someone from the distant past, resonate with chilling and timeless relevance for all of us today.
Okay, what are they?
The first, who has done this to our Earth? And the author suggests that the agonizing answer to that, for us, is painfully clear. It points directly to human industry, our consumption, our choices.
Yeah, us.
But it's the second question that truly lingers. How can we heal her?
Ah, that's the tough one.
Exactly. This question, as the author points out, is as agonizing for us today as it would be for that time traveler.
Right.
It highlights the immense complex challenge of restoration, of remediation, of truly bringing life back to ecosystems after such extensive damage.
Right. It's not just stopping the damage, it's undoing it.
Precisely. It forces us to confront not just the what and the who, but the how do we fix it aspect. And that's far more elusive. It requires collective will, immense effort.
That's a powerful way to frame it. And it makes me wonder, given these stark differences and the profound questions they raise, is this purely an American story, or do these patterns echo across the globe?
Well, that's where it gets really interesting.
Yeah.
Because what's striking is how these patterns of consequence aren't isolated at all. They actually echo across continents.
Okay.
Which brings us to that strikingly similar narrative,
Right.
but from thousands of miles away, in Guangzhou, China.
Right, the second source. So tell us about that. Our second source, also a personal account, introduces us to the Pearl River. The author grew up in Guangzhou, which is a riverside city. And while the river itself has this beautiful, evocative name, the Pearl River,
Sounds lovely.
their own childhood memory recalls the water being brown, often emitting a bad smell.
Oh, not so lovely then.
Not really. They even remember smaller tributaries feeding into it that were commonly referred to just as stinky rivers.
Stinky rivers. Wow. Can you imagine living near something called that?
Right. And this stands in stark contrast to the elders' memories, people who recounted a very different past.
Ah, so it wasn't always like that.
No. They spoke of a beautiful Pearl River, clean and vibrant, clean enough for residents to swim in without a second thought. It really paints a picture of a lost past, doesn't it? A natural beauty that once was, before something fundamentally shifted in the environment.
Yeah, definitely. And a key takeaway here from this source is the direct and undeniable link between that rapid economic development and these drastic environmental changes.
Okay, so it was the development.
The source clearly details how the construction of numerous factories, the boom in industrial production, and critically inadequate sewage disposal systems all contributed to the Pearl River becoming completely unswimmable.
So progress at a cost.
Exactly. The source states that despite the improved city economy and resident income, the undeniable benefits of this rapid growth, the living environment became, and this is their word, vicious.
Vicious? That's intense.
It is. It's a harsh trade-off, where an almost aggressive pursuit of prosperity came at a significant and immediate cost to the natural world and the quality of life. environmentally speaking. It's a very tangible example of economic growth prioritizing output over ecological health.
And for this author, there was a pivotal moment of clarity, wasn't there?
Yes, exactly.
As they grew up and began to travel, they visited Lijiang in Yunnan province. There, for the first time, they saw crystal-clear rivers with visible water plants gracefully rippling beneath the surface.
A different reality.
Completely. It changed their whole concept of what a river can be. The original, they realized, can indeed be so beautiful, a stark, almost heartbreaking reminder, I imagine, of what was lost in Guangzhou and what the Pearl River once was.
A powerful realization.
But then their journey took them to another extreme altogether. The heavy industrial heartland of Hebei province in northern China. They describe constant heavy haze, serious pollution, needing to wear strong protective masks, constantly checking the PM 2.5 index.
Oh, yeah, that severe air pollution indicator.
Exactly. For those unfamiliar, PM 2.5 measures those tiny fine particles in the air that are really harmful when inhaled. It's a key sign of bad air quality. They recount seeing these large chimneys not far away, just constantly emitting smoke.
Must have been unsettling.
It led them to this almost surreal thought. We should not be in Chernobyl, right?
Wow. That says a lot about the atmosphere.
It really does. The sheer scale of industrial output was just overwhelming. Even riding the high-speed railroad through Hebei, they observed this unbroken succession of factories, mines, perpetually smoky skies. They recognize this as the very fruits of rapid economic development.
The fruits?
Yet it led them to ask, where is this rapid economic development leading us to? Their intuition told them there was, and again, this is their phrase, hell outside the window.
Hell outside the window. That's chilling.
It's a truly unsettling vision of progress, isn't it? One that comes at an almost unbearable environmental cost.
Yeah. And what's powerfully evident listening to both the American and the Chinese experiences is this universal pattern.
That's so.
The initial, often unbridled drive for industrial and economic growth, frequently at the expense of environmental foresight, seems to happen everywhere.
Right. Grow first, worry later.
Something like that. The Hackensack River and the Pearl River, though geographically distant, they become sort of symbolic of a shared human impulse, maybe, to prioritize immediate material gain over the long-term health of our ecosystems. And this isn't really about one political system or one specific culture. It seems to be about the inherent tension between human ambition and ecological limits, a tension that arises globally whenever development outpaces environmental consciousness and, importantly, regulation.
That makes sense.
These accounts make it pretty clear that the visible scars on the land aren't just local phenomena, they're global symptoms of a similar underlying challenge.
So, with these powerful and frankly quite sobering observations in mind, what does this all mean for today? Are things changing in these affected areas, especially in places like China, where the development was so rapid and the impact so visible? Are there any glimmers of hope, or are these wounds simply too deep?
That's a crucial question, isn't it? And what's encouraging, at least from the Chinese source, is the mention of a gradual shift, a growing attention towards environmental protection.
Okay, that's good news.
There's a reported commitment, apparently, to improving the living environment. The author notes that the days of smelling strange odors in the air have become fewer.
Fewer stinky river days.
Exactly. And even some of those stinking rivers are becoming clearer. These are not insignificant changes.
No, definitely not.
This suggests that once the environmental consequences become undeniable, maybe politically or socially untenable, efforts to remediate and restore can begin. We seem to be seeing, in China at least, a reactive policy shift, where the cost of that vicious living environment is finally being recognized and addressed through government initiatives, maybe greater public awareness too.
That's genuinely encouraging to hear about the changes, the policy shifts, but the author still expresses doubts, right? Asking, is it true? I hope so.
Yes, that cautious note is there.
And I think that cautious optimism, that deep-seated skepticism, it feels so valid after experiencing such profound environmental damage. It's not just about what you see today, but what you trust will endure, whether these efforts are truly deep-seated or just cosmetic. What do you think contributes to that lingering doubt, even when there are signs of improvement?
It's an excellent point. That lingering doubt, I think it speaks to the immense scale of the initial damage and the sheer timeline required for true ecological recovery.
Right. Nature heals slowly.
Very slowly. Healing a river or clearing heavily polluted air isn't a quick fix. It's a multi-generational endeavor. It requires sustained political will, massive investment, and a fundamental shift in industrial practices, even public behavior.
A huge undertaking.
Absolutely. The skepticism likely stems from knowing the extent of the sacrifice made for development and understanding that simply cleaning up isn't the same as truly restoring an original beautiful state.
Good distinction.
It also raises questions about whether these improvements are truly sustainable. Are they vulnerable to shifts in economic priorities down the line? It's a reminder that environmental recovery is a marathon, not a sprint. And the memory of the vicious environment can be hard to shake.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
And this brings us right back to those core questions from the hypothetical Lenny Lenape traveler.
Who has done this? And how can we heal her?
Exactly. Both the American and Chinese experiences highlight that these aren't isolated incidents. They're interconnected challenges, driven by similar human motivations and choices. The who is often the collective force of industrialization, an economic paradigm that discounts ecological value.
Right.
The how, well, that's the ongoing global struggle, balancing economic prosperity with environmental stewardship. It's a journey that demands sustained effort, critical reevaluation of our values, and a long-term commitment to reversing the damage. It really asks if we are truly learning from our past and present mistakes across different continents.
This deep dive has truly revealed some incredible contrasts, hasn't it? From the thrilling, enduring beauty of the Hudson River, which the author found unmatched, to the scarred, ravaged landscapes along the Amtrak corridor, and then from the once swimmable Pearl River in Guangzhou, now hopefully working its way back from being called Stinky Rivers,
Let's hope so.
to the hazy industrial skies of Hebei, where the fruits of rapid economic development looked like hell outside the window. These deeply personal observations, they paint such a vivid and powerful picture of how our pursuit of development can reshape the natural world around us. Sometimes for better, but often, initially at least, for much worse.
Definitely. And as you, the listener, reflect on these journeys, consider those core questions posed by that ancient Lenny Lenape perspective. Who has done this to our Earth, and how can we heal her? These aren't just questions for specific places like the Hudson or the Pearl River. They connect us to the global interconnectedness of our environmental challenges. They cut across cultures and economies, and they really underscore the universal responsibility we share to protect and restore our planet.
So here's a final thought to leave you with. As we continue to chase various forms of progress, what truly constitutes a thriving society? Is it one with a booming economy and high incomes, but maybe a vicious living environment for its people and its rivers? Or is it a society that deeply values, actively works to restore, and fundamentally protects the original beautiful state of our planet for all its inhabitants? Ensuring that prosperity doesn't come at an unbearable cost to the very world that sustains us all, it's definitely thought worth holding on to and perhaps even acting upon.